Okay, good morning and good Hakodesh. Today is Tuesday, the 30th day of Tishrei, the first day of Rosh Hakodesh Menachem Mar Cheshvan. Should all have a good gebenchte month and a good year, a good winter. So let's begin with tzedakah again. Kedela tzedakah, shemekareves esageula. Tzedakah brings Mashiach closer. And don't forget, tonight, 8 o'clock, we're going to resume the Torah studies, Tuesday, 8 p.m., same station. So, we are in the middle of chapter 25, the letter 25, where the Alter Rebbe, it's a long letter, the Alter Rebbe explains a statement of the Baal Shem Tov about what does it mean that Hashem dwells even in an evil person that tries to interrupt your prayer. Hashem is still there. And we've discussed this in the past few days. The idea that everything is Hashem, therefore one should not get anger, one should not get angry. If you lose your temper, it's like idol worship. That's like you're saying Hashem is not here. It's because ultimately when you realize that everything Hashem comes from Hashem, then there is no reason to get angry. And so this was discussed in the previous lessons. And as the previous Rebbe divided the Tanya Shirim on a daily basis, in today's Shir it's a short lesson, but it has also an interesting message, an interesting lesson that talks about the importance of verbalizing the words of prayer. And when you study Torah, when you go into a yeshiva, they study Torah. It's not like you go into a public library where everybody's quiet and they read for themselves. In the yeshiva, they study, they verbalize, they say, they scream. They almost seems like a war zone, screaming at each other, arguing, talking, the verbalizing of the words. So you don't have to scream when you say, but the verbalizing of the words of Torah, the verbalizing when you say with words, the words of prayer is important. When you say the Shema, you don't just scan the words, you actually say the words. Why is it important? And Alter Rebbe is going to explain that our faculties of the intellectual faculties, the motive faculties, they correspond to the spiritual faculties. And what we do down here elicits the corresponding powers above. And we explained that what is the level, what is called the Shekhinah, the divine presence that dwells in the lower worlds. That level, we call it the Dvar Hashem, the words of Hashem. This is the speech of Hashem. And that is because just like speech, when you say something, you don't need speech for yourself. You only use speech, you create something outside of you. So when a person uses his intellect, he connects with his spiritual intellect and elicits the spiritual intellect. When a person actually utters those words, when he says the words of Torah and prayer, he elicits the spiritual speech, thereby bringing the union of the spiritual, the higher speech, the Shekhinah, connecting to its source and bringing it down to this world. So that's in very short what the Alter Rebbe says here. Let's see inside. Says the Alter Rebbe, "V'hinei nefesh ha'adam yadu ala koil she'iklula miyud sfiros chachma bina da'as v'chulu." Now, it is known to all that the soul of man, the soul of a Jew is talking about here. He's going to be talking soon, the general, the whole mankind, what it means. So here it talks about the soul of a Jew. is compounded by the 10 spheres, Chochmah, Bina, Das, and so on, the wisdom, the understanding, and knowledge, that's the intellectual faculties, as explained in Tanya part 1 and chapter 3. Now he says, V'af shekulon meruach piv yisborich. Now, though these corresponding faculties of the soul all derive from the breath of God, the breath of God's mouth, ruach piv. As it is written, and he blew into his nostrils the soul of life. So the term he blew indicates that the divine soul derives from the innermost spirit and vitality of its creator. As explained in Tanya part 1, chapter 2, and Shayich and Ve'emunah, we explained the difference between regular speech and the blowing. Blowing, you blow from the inside. That's why when you blow, you get tired. The speech, you can talk and talk and talk and not get tired. Sometimes the student get tired, but not the speaker. But in any case, Mikol Makom. Nevertheless, each of these 10 faculties of the soul is particularly connected with one of the 10 supernal spheres as follows. So you have the intellectual faculties are connected with the spiritual intellect. So he says, Derech prat chochma binadas shebenafshoy hen dugma lechochma binadas shebiyud spheres. The more specifically, the Chabad, the wisdom, understanding, and knowledge in one's soul, one's intellective faculties of Chochmah, Bin, and Das are analogous to the divine intellective emanations of Chabad in the 10 spheres. Amechunos b'shem Abba ve'Ima. These are referred to as Abba and Ima, as father and mother. The Chochmah is referred to as the father, the Bina is referred to as the mother, as we explained this in length. Just like the father gives the point and the mother develops it, this is the same idea. The Chochmah is a spark of understanding, the Bina is the development of the intellect, and so on. Midos ahava ve'yira v'chulu shebenafshoy en dugma lamidos shebeyud spheros anikrois b'shem ze'er ampim. Now, the emotive attributes in one's soul, the attributes of the love and fear of God and so on, they are analogous to the first 6 midot, first six divine emotive attributes in the 10 spheres, which are collectively known as Ze'er Anpin, which means the minor visage, small face. This refers to the midos. Now, the koach hadibur shebenafshoy dugma ladibur elyon, and the faculty of speech in one's soul is analogous to the supernal speech. Anikro b'shem malchus u'shchina. The supernal speech is known as the sphere of malchus, the royalty, the kingdom, or shechina, the divine dwelling. And therefore, concludes the Alter Rebbe here, ולכן כשמדבר דברי תורה מעורר דיבור העליון ליחד השכינה. And hence, says the Alter Rebbe, since a Jew's speech is analogous to supernal speech, the Shechina. So when speaking words of Torah, one arouses the supernal speech, the sphere of Malchus, thereby unifying the Shechina. What does it mean, unifying the Shechina? The divine presence? It means linking it to the preceding stage of emanation. Everything comes from its source. So when you speak, you elicit the supernal speech, which connects with, in order to speak, the speech we explained in length in the Shah Yichud Ve'emunah earlier in the Tanya about the level of the speech. That speech really is connected with a very deep source. It bypasses all of the levels of the intellectual emotive attributes. We spoke about it in length. So that is why when you speak, you elicit the supernal speech, and the supernal speech connects with the very, very root, the very source, the highest source. And that is why it is important, and the law is that when you say Shema, when you say Birkas Hamazon, the blessing after the meal, and you speak words of Torah, you should actually say it. That is why it is established that for the reading of Shema, for the blessings, the blessing after the meals, and for the study of Torah, words of Torah, one has not discharged his duty, meaning you didn't fulfill your obligation by meditation without speech. You actually you have to utter the words, verbalize the words of Torah, the Shema, and Birkas Hamazon. So this is the end of today's shir. Wishing you all a good Hakodesh, and we'll see you tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem.